Every day, I open my phone or turn on the television, and I'm faced with news, comments, opinions everywhere. On social media, on television debates, in conversation between strangers. And very often, what shocks me is not the strength of what people say, it's not even the anger. What shocks me is the lack of research and knowledge behind these certainties. Everyone seems to know exactly what is happening in the world. Everyone knows who is right, who is wrong, what government should do, what religion should mean, what the solution to global conflicts should be. It's fascinating and also a little disturbing. Because when you step back and think about it, most of us are only seeing a projection of reality. A fragment, an angle, a glimpse, something filtered through headlines, television channels, algorithm, and sometimes the interest of those who choose what is shown and what is not. We are given pieces of a puzzle, and from these pieces we build entire conclusions. But rarely do we take the time to see the two sides of the medal. Reality almost always has more than one side, more than one perspective, more than one truth, depending on where you stand. Yet, in the world of instant reaction, people choose one side and defend it as if they had seen the entire picture. And sometimes I wonder, when did we become so certain about things we barely understand? There is something else I notice often when watching political debates. When politicians or leaders are asked difficult questions, sometimes they remain silent, or they answer very carefully, and they choose their word with extreme precision. Many people interpret this silence as weakness, or dishonesty, or guilt. What if sometimes the opposite is true? What if sometimes they remain silent because they see a bigger picture than we do? Because decisions at that level are rarely simple. They involve diplomacy, military balance, economic consequences, international alliance, long-term strategy, things that cannot simply be explained in a 20-second answer during a television debate. And yet, from our phones, from our couches, from a 30-second video clip, we judge this situation immediately. We react to a headline, a sentence taken out of context, a short video edited to provoke emotion, and suddenly everyone becomes an expert. But there is a very important difference between an opinion and knowledge. An opinion can be formed in 5 seconds. Knowledge often requires years of study, discipline, and experience. Many of the people we criticize in politics or diplomacy did not simply arrive there by accident. Some of them studied economics for 10 years, others studied international law, others geopolitics, history, diplomacy, public administration. They spent years in universities, years in institutions, years understanding systems that most of us only encounter through a headline. And yet, today, someone who has never studied these subjects, never worked in these environments, never have even read deeply about them, can watch a 2-minute video on social media and declare with total confidence, I know exactly what should be done. Sometimes I find it a little astonishing. Confidence is not the same as competence, and certainty is not the same as wisdom. This is something humanity has understood for centuries. In Islam, for example, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Whoever believes in God and the last day should speak good or remain silent." Every word carries weight. Every word leaves a trace. But the wisdom is not limited to one religion. In the Bible, the book of Proverbs says, "Even a fool is thought wise if he keeps silent." The Greek philosopher Socrates expressed a similar idea when he said, "The only true wisdom is in knowing that you know nothing." The French writer Voltaire once warned, "Doubt is uncomfortable, but certainty is absurd." And another philosopher, Bertrand Russell, made an observation that feels incredibly modern. The trouble with the world is that the stupid are certain and the intelligent are full of doubt. Maybe that is something we see more and more today. The more complex a subject truly is, the more cautious the people who understand it tend to be, while those who see only the surface often speak with the greatest confidence. In a world of constant reaction, constant comments, constant noise, silence has almost become suspicious. But silence is not always ignorance. Sometimes silence is discipline. Sometimes silence is respect for complexity. And sometimes silence is humility. And sometimes silence is simply the recognition that reality is far bigger than what we see through our screens. Because in a world where everyone feels the need to speak immediately, the real wisdom may not always be in speaking louder, but in remembering something very simple. Before speaking, before judging, before declaring that we know, we should perhaps ask ourselves one question. Do we truly know? Or do we only think we know? And maybe that question alone could make the world a little quieter and a little wiser.